Alright, up next we have Vida on Dreadring. So like with the last time, we're just going to pre-watch the game first. Take a look. We're going to see what people say. And what is the notes from Vida before we begin? Vida says, tryout scrum for my team. Undiv since we're a new team, but probably around div 8 to 9. Coordination and what to do in each game and where to do it. So we want notes on working with our teammates. Alright. Are these pre-picked? I got submissions and I picked a few of them beforehand, yes. We will be doing more from the Blue Sky post later. Like another stream or so, probably. I think I'm only going to do 3 today. But we will see. Oh, we are going for that zone. She's going to be going to suction. Does still cap, though. Nice. This is an unfortunate time to be out of ink, but we're okay. Too late to upload a battle. You can submit to the Blue Sky thread. It will not be in today. Guys, if you are going to submit a code, please do it with the image, by the way, because a lot of the submissions do not have the image, and I will be ignoring most of them, because it said to use the image. Oh, wow, okay. I don't know if we actually intended to do the slider on the pillow for the extra damage, or if that was unintended. Alright. Is there a dread behind? There is a dread behind. Okay. Alright, we got a little lucky there. That was very scary. Sliders are getting good value. Oh, we want to scale the slider, I think. Oh, everyone's turned around. Everyone's turned around. That was never going to go well. We have a lot of people in stack there. Great. Oh, great. And their cooler is also, like, totally busy. We just go. I don't think we needed to slider this, but we'll talk about that later. Okay, I am noticing a bit of a pattern so far, which is I cannot really tell what your game plan is. Not really tell what the plan is. In fact, I can't really tell what the plan for anyone is. This game is very, like, I don't know. Everyone's just kind of running at each other. Okay. Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about natural coordination before we start going over specific things this game. I think that warrants discussing the thing you put in the post. Okay, we're in the middle, so we're gonna die. Can't really go there. Ah, we're going in the middle again. nice. You lose this game. What goes horribly wrong in the last 15 seconds of this match? It's gonna be a read slider on the zone, isn't it? Oh, we're all sitting back. Yeah, there's the slider, do you? Oh, it didn't even cap. Oh, but everyone died. Alright. Are the reviews? We've just started. Okay, so. Let me start with a little tangent before we get into the game itself. I'm just going to put this on the background and overhead for a second. So, talked a little bit about coordinating with our team. So, I think the biggest thing I want people to understand, just on a general level, right, outside of this match, if we're trying to work with our teammates, the main thing that I need to make coordination easier is I need everyone to just play their normal, like, roles and jobs and, like, the thing they're supposed to do. I think when you are trying to, like, follow teammates around specifically or trying to do a specific thing for someone or anything like that, it just makes it harder to coordinate a lot of the time. This game is very fast-paced. People are moving around a lot. Most of the time, coordination will just happen naturally because the maps are very small if people are just doing the thing they need to be doing. If your front line is in the correct position, if your anchor is in the correct position, etc., etc. There are things that can help, like comms and like stuff like that. But a lot of the time, this coordination will come from someone doing something that they just aren't supposed to be doing. And if you're focused really heavily on like, oh, I gotta help my, like, I don't know if you're a blaster player, it's like, I gotta help my slosher player because we're a frontline duo. And you're just like looking at your teammate and following them around everywhere and all that. It might be a little bit harder for them to understand what you're doing, or you might be going and doing things that you don't need to do. Sometimes even if you guys are separated, if you're like doing your own jobs, you'll probably be covering different areas of the map more. It's like generally I would just focus on having a set game plan. And that will also help with a lot of the overlap we saw this game, which like literally look at the overhead right now, right? It's like, let's look at this overhead right here. And we get like everyone dead and we have like the entire team on right stack. Where do we go afterwards, right? How do we coordinate afterwards? Where do we go? Now, if you already know where you're supposed to go, if you already have, like, general set positions or know where your weapon's supposed to go, this is a very easy question. If not, it looks like this. You see how the Gluga player goes, like, right, left, right, left, right. They're like, oh, fuck, I can't go this way, I can't go this way. And they're, like, completely lost because no one knows where they're supposed to go. If you already know where you're supposed to go as an individual, there's none of this back and forth. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go over here because this is just where I go. And you just go. Don't think about it. The, like, underlying lesson, if you just do something quickly, it will probably be better. Okay. Don't overthink coordination. The game moves too quickly. Know where you're supposed to go, know where your teammates are supposed to go, and just keep it enforced. Okay, let's get back to your POV. Alright. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the camera in this game, okay? Let's talk about the camera, right? So, look at the position that we're currently in right now. Let's just freeze frame right here. This position has its benefits, it has its downsides. There's like different things we can talk about. I want to focus on one attribute right here, and I want to talk about vision. What can we see from this position? Almost nothing. I have no idea what the enemy team is doing if I'm playing this position, right? This position does one thing very well, and it's contest right stack, right? But the downside is your vision in this position is extremely limited, which is why people who play this position or push this position on opening will tend to commit further to the right side of the map than in the middle, right? We are kind of further towards the left here. People will commit further towards the right because there's less places we can be approached from. So when we're contesting a position where we have low visibility, we need to make sure we cannot get surrounded or painted over or targeted by multiple people. So this is a very aggro play. Generally, I would expect this more from like the S-Blast or a weapon that could get a kill more quickly. But if you're going to do this a Dreadringer, you need to be further into the corner so that you aren't going to get shot at from as many angles. Here, you're like thrown into the middle of everything and it's impossible for you to react to anything. Like right now, you're getting cut off by this wiper. You couldn't see the wiper 2 seconds ago. You'd have no idea if they were here. Because your vision is way too limited in that position. That's also why typically you'll see like more defensive rollouts from supportive weapons. You know, like top left of stack where they can kind of just chill, play more passively. Okay, getting out of here is very good. The paint is fine. We get our Reef Slider. We're gonna combo with our S-Blast. I am okay with this slider. Generally, my rule on slider cheese is if you need to do it, you can do it. If you don't need to do it, I would try to save your Reef for something better, because oftentimes will get you killed. In this case, it's okay. You use the pillow very well for cover. You get a very good angle. See how your Gluga is just going to walk in and clean the fight because you have people pulled, so you have their attention pulled, right? We just talked about camera views earlier with you. Let's take a look at their camera views, right? Let's get this edit POV, right? You go back here and watch what this edit does. Whoop. Now, remember the camera view thing we just talked about? How we can't see anything? Look, now the edit can't see anything. All they can see is you. Oh, and the Gluga just comes in and shoots them. One of the most effective tools you can do is just pulling people's camera view. Get them to look away from your teammates. Because if you see someone with their back to you, you're probably going to push them. Right? So your Gluga just goes, oh, okay, here's 2 people from the enemy team. None of them are looking at me. I'm going to go roll in and shoot them. And the coordination just happens very, very naturally from there. Is this the other Dread Ringer? This is the other Dread Ringer. I need to go back to you. There we go. Alright. Dropping middle here is okay, because you're rotating left side. You're not staying middle. Okay. What does this slider do? We already have Booyah for zone here. And I already don't really like this Booyah on zone, but this is your VOD review, right? I want the Booyah to be clearing a position before getting zone. We're kind of like jumping the shark here. I say as we're literally jumping a shark, right? We're going in, we're going for the cap on zone. But again, look at your camera view. Can you really tell what's going on? Is there someone bottom left of the map? I don't know. There might be. No. Okay. Right? We can't see a whole lot of what's going on. We're tunneling on the zone here. Right now, you have stack. Stack is very, like, effective as a position. You kind of just need to stay here. If you stay on this position, you can paint the objective. You can clear the wall to where people can't push you, and you'll still have your Re-Slider to push in later. So it's more you don't need the special. Everything you're doing with this special, you could do just by shooting your weapon. So don't use the special for it. Just hold it. All right? And you keep this angle. This is a good wide angle to push right side. Great. Great. Okay, where do we go from here? This is the positioning thing. Okay, I like that we scaled the Booyah Bomb. Okay. We're just going for damage. I would slider off the ledge, by the way, before blowing up here. Like all the way down the wall, so this wall is in cover. Like the slider angle you have is fine, but like blow up over the ledge and this wiper goes down. Right? Don't slider this closely. I think you do it because of the Booyah. Because you do kill the Booyah, but I wouldn't be as worried about the Booyah Bomb. Like I would more just try to take out the wiper that's going to walk in. I think the sword is a bit less of a priority. But the other thing is the angle that we talked about, right? So when this wiper is looking at you and kills you, you notice how the wiper can immediately start walking forward. If you die down here, further away, and their team looks at you, they're going to look away from the zone and will slow them down more. Especially if you kill the wiper, because then this stamper has to throw Booyah Bomb at you. Or if they throw Booyah Bomb away, they then have to turn around and look at you and fight you and look away from the zone. So your goal here is that you're separating these guys from the rest of their team. You're divvying them up, and you're setting up a 3v2 for the rest of your team to clean up in a very effective position, right? But the sooner you die, the sooner their team's going to come back, right? And in this case, this fight loss isn't really your fault. I think your slider still got good value. But that's kind of how we can get a little bit more out of that position. Okay, obvious here, but I wouldn't drop into the wiper right away. Just paint over the ledge. This is very greedy. Scaling to this position is fine. I think the slider is also fine. Okay, same thing with the slider, right? I think you slider because of the Booyah Bomb, actually. Never mind. Okay, I was going to say you could go wide with your slider again, but you might have just been reacting to the Booyah Bomb and trying to blow it up here, which is also pretty good. Your slider gets, like, major damage in this fight, so it's very effective. Okay, nice paint. Great. Okay, so if you're gonna get this left angle here, your job isn't going to be scaling as much from here, right? You're not really going to easily be able to push into the enemy base, especially against good teams. What you have is you have a lot of ledges to work around, but I need you to get wider on the angle that you're playing, right? So I need you to try to paint the area around you. You see how there's a bunch of purple around you and you're kind of just leaving it alone, right? This is what I talk about with like working with your team sabotages you. You're like, oh, I see my teammates fighting over here. I gotta go help them, right? And now this dread just walks in and reef sliders behind you guys. And now you're all clumped on stack and you're all gonna die. In this case, you coordinate with your team better by just sitting with your team on the left side of the map and helping them, right? And you'll be fine. So I need you to hold this angle. I need you to take space like wider from it. You have a lot of paint here to get your next reef slider. You're very close to reef. And you can kind of use reef to just punish whatever the other team does when they walk in. So you can kind of sit on a wide angle. You can use reef slider to stay alive. You can paint. You can like poke over the ledge to prevent the other slider from going in. You have a lot of stuff you can do here. I need you to just secure this angle. But you get so sidetracked on what the rest of your team is doing that you kind of miss the stuff right in front of you, you know? So it's more, if you just stay focused on the position you're already playing in, you know, you'll already have a lot more to do. You don't have to sidetrack to whatever your team is doing here. Right, and then, obviously, once you're clumped up here and you're getting pulled a bunch of different directions, it's going to be very easy for the team to clean. But it's like over here, you have a lot of like space and things you can do from there. Okay, let's get back to you. Right. Nice. Natural double kill with the blast. We're going to go forward. Okay, now this one's less necessary. You're up 2 kills, the Booya's far back, you don't need a reef slider this one. This is one where you should hold a slider for sure. This is kind of the same thing where I talk about, okay, I don't know what your game plan is here, right? So like if I go back a little bit, let me watch you from overhead, right? I went a little too far back, but we'll get there. We get these kills, we walk over here. Slider in the middle. Okay, where are you going from here? Right? We're in the center of the map right now. So if you go right here, I'm like, okay, your right side, I'm going to expect you to scale right side of the map, because this is the area you're playing. But now you're moving toward the left, because of the Dread Ringer. Then we switch again to go to the right side. Walk around, push right, go over here. And then we get to the right side. We have the open angle on the right side. And we go back to the left. Right? You see this kind of like swapping back and forth, like over and over. You're like left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. And like, not only is that, you know, obviously confusing for you, who's like constantly switching between goals, but think about it if it's any of your team trying not to overlap with you. They're like, okay, I don't know where my Dreadringer's going, so do I go right now? Do I go left? Like, where am I supposed to go? So it makes it harder for everyone else to work with you. It's like, what you're doing is probably trying to follow up on natural sources of damage, because there like was other stuff hitting over here, and I think you're just trying to follow up on that. But what ends up happening is that your attention is very split between multiple areas. So there are things that are being neglected. Like in this case, this is just wide open. Nobody's here. Super open flank. Very strong angle that nobody's taking. Right? And when stuff like that happens, that's how stuff like this happens. Where they slider and they get to the zone, and you have to worry about that now. Okay. Same thing here, right? Where like helping your teammates over here is okay. Like, to some extent. I think you actually play this really well mechanically, but it's like, okay, I still don't know where our goal is after this. Where are we going? Right? And you end up dying in the middle of the map. Like, once you have this slider, it's like, okay, I need you to move somewhere else. Now that you've gotten the slider off, where are you going to push from there? What position are you playing? Where are we going? Right? In this case, you know, for Mako specifically, the map generally revolves around these 2 stack areas. So I want you trying to take one of these if you're playing in the center of the map. Right? If you're scaling forward, you can do some kind of other preventative position. You know, like playing under the ledge here to try to stop the slider from getting to zone, stuff like that. Okay. This is a solid position to hold out. Okay. This is another good example of the angle thing, right? You see how you cover this right side originally? you get like really wide over here. You're holding this corner from the enemy team. You condense into the middle of the map. You're standing on top of your tri-stringer now. So both of you are looking in the same direction. And look what the other team does. Boom. 1, 2. Now they have your position. This area that you guys are fighting in right now is a position you already controlled. Because we walked backward and tried to, like, you know, stand on top of our teammate, we gave up space and the enemy team took it. Now we're fighting for a position that we should have already had, right? You're now fighting to take back something you already had. So be a little careful with that. Same thing with the slider, right? 2 people are already dead. Do we need slider for the zone? Probably not. I'd rather have it for our aggression next so that you can play more aggressively here. Helping your teammate on the right here is okay, but I think just fighting the edit would have been a little better because you're trying to keep this separation. Like, the wiper is like a bit of a problem, but if you take out the edit and take the position, what's the wiper going to do after, you know, maybe they kill your Glooga? You're up here, you have the better position, you can kind of just watch wherever their team is going, and you'll be fine there. I don't think you really need to, like, if you just get the position up here, you have a lot of options. If you go, and even if the wiper goes down, this edit now still has stack, and is going to be able to deny the rest of your team, right? We still have to fight into this position here. That's really effective. Yeah, I'm going on a bit of a positioning tangent. Okay, I would not drop center under, like, any circumstance, obviously. There's just not really anything for you to do there. There's nowhere to rotate. You're going to get surrounded. They have high ground, yada, yada, yada. I think that was a decision made out of panic. Same thing with the reef slider we've said quite a few times, right? Do we need it for zone cheese here? Probably not. And then I think this is going to be the same point of staying in the middle again. Like, where are we going over here? And, like, in this case, it's not even just you, right? Your entire team is doing this. Your S-Blast is in the middle, your Blue is in the middle. So none of you are taking any of the sides of the map. So this wiper is going over here and becoming a problem, and we're not really playing in good positions until now. But getting into these positions now took 2 Booyah Bombs because we were all in the middle of the map, and now our team is all out of juice. Like, we ran out of our resources here, and then the enemy team is going to use theirs, and what do we have for this? In this case, you still play the position well. Obviously, you get a pick here, and you try to hold out. The rest of your team goes down. I would not give up the stack. I think you fighting there is a little bit stronger, but obviously by now, you know, this is a very desperate situation. Okay. So, overall things. First off, sliders on the zone. I don't think you need to slider zone as often as you're doing. I saw barely any sliders that were not on the zone. There was like one over here. That was all we had. I think you really should be evaluating a little bit more if you need slider to cap zone on the retake, because oftentimes that's a very valuable resource for continuing holds and allowing your weapon to play more aggressive. You want to try to be holding on to that more when you're able to. When you're positioning on a bit of an angle, whether it's aggressive or defensive, I think it's better you keep a little bit wider with your spacing. Don't condense into the middle of the map as much, and don't stand on top of your teammates as much. Just keep, you know, space more in the corners of the map and try to condense the enemy position a little bit. I think that'll be beneficial to you. When we're playing holds later into the game, I think, like, on a map like this, you can play either side and you'll be fine. But what I want you to do is try to, like, play the angle you're doing and commit to it. It's like, okay, if you want to fight left side, stay left side. If you want to go right side and do a flank or something, then, like, commit to the right side of the map. I want you to try to pick a game plan and stick with it so that your team knows how to work around that. I want you to try to spend less time in the middle of the map or rotating between different positions. I want you to really try to solidify what your game plan is and try to stick to it a little bit more. When there's flanks and stuff like this going off, I don't think you need to respond to it all the time. Look how many people are responding to it. Generally, this is a note I give frontline players. Like, I think the Glooga player looking backward is a bit more of the issue here because I want your frontlines controlling active space. But still, I would look at, okay, there's already a lot of resources here. Do I need to be helping this position? Because even though you take care of the flanks, the other team is allowed to walk back in on the respawn. And that's the thing we really have to prevent when there's a flank going off. We want to make sure the other team isn't taking space while we're not there to occupy that space. When we're using slider, you know, pulling further away, getting people to look differently is also very good and effective. But yeah, I think that's most of the notes I have. In terms of main weapon Dreadringer stuff, I didn't even check your gear. What do we have? We have, okay, standard LD, SP stuff. When you have Last Ditch, I think you can bomb spam a little bit more. Very effective combo with the main weapon, and also just gets more paint up. If you're Reef Sliding Zone for the cap, I would get in the habit of using your bomb before the slider and trying to time them at the same time. That will help you out a lot. Besides that, I think you're doing fine. You're clearly getting a lot of picks. You're getting really good value at coordinating the slider with the rest of your team, which is very good. I think a lot of it just needs to be you focusing on your own game plan a little bit more and worrying a little bit less about your team. I want you to just focus on what you need to be doing as an individual, and the coordination will happen more naturally. Since you're in the chat, if you have any questions, let me know. If not, we'll move on to the next code. Alright. Our last game, we have Sam. This is Division 1. This is the finals of a paddling pool, actually. We're going to take a look at it. We got some Splash-O-Matic support gaming on Rainmaker. Different mode this time. Do we have a vacuum and Rainmaker on either comp? That's a no. Guys, where's the ink vacuums? And that's a no on the other team. Man, a little behind the meta. You post your coaching sessions with Moonlight. No, that is private. Alright. I thought about posting a few, the ones that I'm really proud of, but generally it's been that stuff that stays within the team. That's how they prefer it. Which is totally fair. Okay, it's a very good grab. Our whole team blew up. Yeah, that too, obviously. We can't let everyone know what we're working on. I think this is literally a player I've fought before. I've seen like quite a few of the names in the lobby. I'm guessing the 96 deco is Ant. This is a really good shark. Nice play. Ah, it's unfortunate. Whoa, okay. Oh, I forgot to restart the recording. Oh well, I guess these two are gonna be in one recording then. That's fine. We're in a crab right here. Nice. Oh, we're pulling so much resources. Nice. Just run rain probably. Play. I'm not sure I like the really defensive crab loadout here over helping our carbon. Like, I think sharking and bursting for the carbon there would be much better. Oh, this crab. Okay. Might be worth it for the resources it's pulling. But that's a really unfortunate push to try to come back from with no ink vac. Nice fight. But yeah, I should see what they said by the way. Get to Sam. Where's their post? I feel like I have strong kills at times, but worse decisions in neutral. I'm sacrificing my life at 325. Okay, we passed that earlier. We'll get to that. Yeah, this is a very questionable grab. I like the aggressive positioning, but there's not really any follow-up. so there's not really much of a threat. Jumping out there is also... we're coolered, so I kind of prefer fighting there with the rest of our team to try to get some value, but it was a bad situation. Are we getting stalled? We're getting stalled. This is losers finals of a tournament, so understandable. We're going to see the classic Rainmaker stall on the bottom left of Museum. That's a Kraken. We're dead. We are very separated, like everyone is. Hey. We're gonna have to talk a little bit on dealing with Rainmaker stalling, I think. This is an extremely annoying position to be in. We cannot be watching this. There's way too many people watching the 96. Scaling is just going to be impossible. Because everyone's in the corner. Like, even if we get kills like that, there's nowhere to go. Like, even without the crowd. There's just way too many people in the corner. We're about to do it again. We gotta go somewhere else. Go, 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 go right, go right. Go, 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 go. Alright, gotta do something desperate here. The game is basically... Okay, the game's over. The game is over, dog. That is it. Okay. How stressful is it coaching a DivX team? Oh, coaching Midlight's not stressful at all. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna be picky about this on opening. I'm gonna be picky about this one. Okay, if our game plan here is opening crab, which I'm assuming it's opening crab, judging by these 10 seconds right here, because these are doing nothing but trying to get a crab tank. We cannot paint for crab tank only in this corner. There is just literally not enough paint in the corner. We need to be painting for crab while we're rolling out in mid right here. Like, we can go behind spinner and paint this for crab, then go here, paint this, and have a crab. Very small thing as support, but like if we're playing opening crab, you have to have enough space. This is just not enough space to get a crab. Also, if we're going for opening crab, why are we going for pop? I don't know. I don't think pop is very worth going for on Museum. It doesn't really paint that much on the spinner. But like, I can't really tell if the plan is to go for pop or not, because the pen and sword are going for pop, and the carbon and splash are not going for pops. Like, this entire opening is just very disjointed. Like, there's not really a coherent game plan. The best thing we have going for us is crab, but our opening pathing just doesn't give us crab anywhere near as fast as the other team gets crab. So by the time we're using ours, they've already scaled so much, right? And I think it's mostly because your team doesn't really have any threats at all. Everyone's just very split doing their own thing. Objectives are very, like, this-centered. So their team just walking with the crab without any contention from you guys is already going to do most of the work. I think the crab from you is still really good here at the end of the day, but I think, like, too much has gone wrong before this crab takes place. I think our crab needed to be faster, our cooler needed to be faster, and if we're not playing for either of those, I needed to see the carbon set up somewhere in middle over here just to pull resources. Like, even if they're just tanking a few crab shots and jumping out, or hiding on the wall, or, like, something to slow the other team down so that you can initiate with your crab second and you guys don't lose as much space. Like, by the time you guys are, like, getting your stuff together, the other team has just made too much ground. Your positions are just worse. It's like one of those fights where you just lost it before it began. I talked about this earlier, but the shark was just good. Very good play. What I don't, like, I'm okay with this drop. I'm not okay with the extending you would do after this, right? And this happens later into the game too, where I feel we get caught a lot on this left side. Like, I know the 96 in the corner here is annoying, and like, we got 3 hits, so we really want to chase this kill, but we're kind of just wasting our time over here. This is a part of the map that the rest of our team can clear fairly easily. I need us to take active space on this side of the map. The other thing that this does is it abandons your carbon a little bit. Like, your carbon's scaling into the middle of the map, and they've run out of paint. So, like, if you're right side on this, you know, obviously your carbon should have just been able to kill the pen regardless. But if you're over here on the right side turfing this, you can help your carbon, like, get this pen, and then you two are already scaling up here. Like, you're already going to be in their plat, threatening to push the Rainmaker the other way around. But, like, this tunneling over here is, like, really poor. Let me get back to you. Nice kill. Ah, okay. A little scary. This was also fine. I think we get checked very clearly. I'm thinking here. I think my only critique with this crab is I actually kind of want you to stay in here. Because your angle is very strong. You've already displaced pen, effectively. And you also have, like, a ton of your crab HP here. Like, the Kraken's a little scary, but you kind of force the Kraken to climb at you. And you can kind of just stay on the wall a little bit. Like, have it break your crab and stay up here. And you're tanking the enemy crab fire. Once you back off here, like, I feel like there's not much of a threat behind on their team to worry about. I think this is also partially, to be fair, a little bit. Your Stamper and Carbon are, like, mega overextending here. You've already burned crab in a defensive position, and like we talked about with the first VOD review today, if it's popped, like, really far back here, you know, we wouldn't, like, what's it called? We wouldn't have to, like, do anything about this crab. The crab's already defensive, it's not taking space. The threat is, like, this Kraken over here. But if we hang back and we stall at the Kraken, this Kraken's gonna run out. There's no follow-up from the rest of the team, and we can effectively punish it. But, like, these two moving in really kind of just abandon it so that this Kraken ends. And there's nothing that, like, there's nothing to punish after, because all of our team already went down very early. Was this a 325 you talked about? I think it is, right? Sacrificing your life there at 325 for the rain is totally fine. 41 points is pretty good. I'm fine with it. Okay, this is my nitpicky play, but I'm gonna do it. Okay. I want you to shark and burst for your carbon, because you see your carbon rolling out here. Like, I'd assume you're aware of this, right? Jump down here, swim over the pillow, and shark. And be ready to throw burst bombs at the Rainmaker, because your carbon is going to go for this rain, and you know your carbon's going to be here. I want you bursting for them a little bit more. It's like you have a little bit of burst here, but then you're already rotating away. If you, like, stay and shark up here, you have 2 bursts for your carbon, and you're also forward to play off of any momentum your carbon might get off the Rainmaker kill. But here we're kind of abandoning the carbon instead, so the carbon goes for an all-or-nothing play, and in this case it just works out for nothing. And then I think this grab is fine. I think this is another case of, like, a lot of your team is dead in positions they probably shouldn't, and getting the kill here is probably the best thing you can do. Which sucks, that because this is kind of the main point of the game, but I don't think you really do anything wrong here. I think you do about everything you could in that situation. They just have, like, 3 specials for you, so it's kind of just unfortunate. I don't think that's really on you. And the kills you get after, I think, are very good. Okay, let's talk about scaling. Right. Where is everyone else? Okay. This VOD review is for you, but I'm going to nitpick the rest of your team here, because this is a little inexcusable. At this level of play, I'm going to be a little picky. This is way too slow. Way too slow here. We have a splash with Crab, we have paint control in the middle of the map, and we have access to a quick right path to move the Rainmaker out of. We need to be moving. Like, we're playing safe right now. Which sometimes I can understand playing safe. But I need you guys to realize here, they have a lead to 1. We have 2.5 minutes. Do something desperate. We gotta get to 0 and KO the game. This is not the time to do safe, slow retakes. We have to do aggressive retakes to take space quickly. There is just not enough time and a lot of points that need to happen. Right now, we have all our special resources. We have a bunch of fighting weapons, and we have a very active splash. We need to be pushing off of this right now. There's a huge chance for very early momentum, and winning a fight here skips all of this, which is a huge part of the stage. This is all way too passive. Like, being over here is too passive. Like, no one being with you. The cooler position. Like, everything here is way too slow. We need to hit the go button, right? So I'm not going to critique you in this case because I think you're doing the correct play out of everyone here. But I have to point that out, obviously. Like, I know the review is for you, but I got to point this out. Alright, we need to go. Walk in. If everyone walks in, it will go fine. But we got to do it together. Okay. Okay, we're shooting at wall way too much. Just paid for your crap. We're also losing the angle here because of this drop, which I don't like. Like, I don't want you dropping back into court. The whole idea of going up here with splash is that you get an angle, LOS-wise, of a crab, like, up here to clear. You shouldn't be dropping down here. It goes against the whole reason you're playing up there. You only drop if you have a, like, guaranteed kill. You're dropping into a 96 with 2 tools to keep itself alive. There's a very low chance of this working out. It's like, I need you to get this crab and get this, like, you know, clear under the ledge so your team can walk in. Okay. Back to you. Yeah, I think we get crab this time. Where do we crab? Ah, okay. We cannot use crab in this entire quadrant of the map. Like, in general, in this state of the game. Remember how I mentioned earlier your team is being too slow? This is also too slow. You do not have time to clear this part of the map. Your team needs to skip this part of the map. This crab is too defensive. For a few reasons, right? One, you're contesting this left side of the map, which isn't that important. But two, when your crab ends, there's no space to move in at all, right? Because you're not contesting far enough for your front lines to get in. You need your carbon and sword dropping into the middle of the map, but your crab does not contest, like, anywhere near far enough. To do that, you need to be clearing, like, behind the middle of the map, and your crab can't reach. So your aggros can't take as much space, and that means when the crab is done, we have made no forward progress. We're all just standing in the same spot. And this is also why getting pulled to this left side isn't good here. Right? Again, the rest of your team is trying to scale right side. And if you're dealing with Rainmaker stalling, right, you can't tunnel the Rain first because they're going to kill you over here over and over. If you want to get the Rainmaker out of this corner, you need to take this. This is step one. Ignore the Rain, kill the other team on the right side of the map, take space on their plat, use the space to get the Rainmaker over here. Obviously, it's still difficult and annoying and all that, but it's like, that's your priority list. If you get caught over here, you see how all of your team is no longer taking forward space anymore. Everyone's looking into the corner, and the other team just walks in. This S-Blast just swims into the position that your sword was literally in 5 seconds ago, and now we have to fight for a position we held earlier. Right? It's because all our resources are in this corner of the map, and it's like, you can kill the 96 down here, or whoever runs at you and whatever, and it's not going to matter. Like, even if you get, like, 2-3 kills, there's no forward space. You're still in the exact same position that we're in earlier. Alright, it's the same thing here. Like, okay, we get the kill, but, like, as soon as you get the kill, you gotta go. I would say similar about this crab. Like, I wouldn't even be crabbing top mid here. I think you try to get crab on right side, and you try to scale with your front lines more. Because, like, this position is very scary due to sharks that you have to deal with. Like, I'd preferably want one of your front lines taking care of this, but also your crab here, like, unless you can for sure get crab off top mid, this position isn't very active. You're going to get chipped by pen, and it's just a little too slow for the game state. Like, normally, maybe that play would make sense. You need to get to a knockout. It's too slow. And then I think from here, everything is just doomed because there's no time. Okay. So I think my biggest critique of this game is forward progress and momentum. There's a few small things, like obviously you farm crab without enough space here. I think your crabs, for the most part, were good at the start of the game. There's like a big disconnect in this group of when we're taking space. I think when we're on aggro, when we're on holds, I think your front lines are too aggressive. At every part of the game, I think you are too passive. I want your crabs to be like I want you to either try to get crabs in more aggressive positions at times, or I want you to try to just like paint and scale with the rest of your aggros. I think a lot of the time there's a disconnect between the passiveness of your position and the aggressiveness of your like frontline players. Like right here is a really good example where your sword is trying to scale and actively contest this space. So like if they want to play this way, you need to be swimming in and burst bombing for them, not painting and going for your crab here. Like Splash very much has two separate game states. One where it's following its teammates around and trying to help them with burst bomb support, and one where it's playing for its special to stall and hold space. And I think there's a big disconnect between your pacing between those two modes and the rest of your groups, right? I don't think this is a team. This looks like a pickup, right? But I think the disconnect between these is creating a lot of really disjointed moments where you're not really on the same page as the rest of your team, and the other team is just more connected in their game plans than you. Like, when they're crabbing, they're just walking in more than your team is when you're crabbing. Later into the game, I think, like, I don't know if it's tournament nerves, I don't know if it's annoyance at them getting to 1, I don't know what it is, but, like, basically once they get to 1 onward, the positioning after your, like, crab over here gets very slow and very defensive, and everything kind of grinds to a halt. And it's not that the Rainmaker is in the corner, it's that the rest of your team is now being slower, safer, and more passive. And because of that, there's no chance to build any form of momentum going off. It's like, a lot of this is the setup before the fights actually begin that I think needs to be looked at, right? Getting your crab faster or positioning it differently. Like, again, a lot of it is set up in neutral and a better idea of where your team wants to go. It's like, especially if you're playing with Carbon Stamper, right? These are weapons that want to get up close, or like really want to push in more directly. They don't have like AoE or angles or anything. They kind of need to swim up close a lot of the time. You really need to be a more active player with those front lines. And sometimes you are, especially with a lot of your crabs in the early game. But again, I think at some point it gets very disconnected. That's kind of the main thing I really want you to look at. But yeah, for the most part, I don't think there's too much I can look at with this game, just because a lot of it is spent with the Rainmaker sitting at 1 and us doing the same thing for like the entire second half of the game, like us being the team. So I don't think there's like too much I can look at compared to some of the other games. This was admittedly like the, I don't know, it's not actually shortest, but it feels the shortest. But I hope some of that was able to be helpful. All right, that is it for today.